Mithrandiel here at PAX West 2018, checking out Buildings Have Feelings Too. Who am I joined by today?
I'm Benjamin Donahue. I'm the creative director at Blackstaff Games.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about Buildings Have Feelings Too. What's this game all about? I can already tell that you've got some buildings here with limbs, arms, and legs. What's going on here?
So it's pretty much like a classic like Sim City management style game. But the idea is that all the buildings are alive and can walk and talk, so you're managing the growth of your city at the same time as like the interpersonal relationships between the buildings. So yeah, half the characters like what you're doing, the others don't, and it's just trying to work out how to keep the peace.
keep the peace between the buildings.
Yeah.
And what was the inspiration behind what made you want to personify the buildings and make them have relationships with one another?
My background's in animation, so I like adding hands and faces to things. But yeah, no, I kind of always lived in a city, so we live quite high up, so you can quite see the city skyline, and yeah, it's always interesting what happens to buildings, so it's kind of the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, just kind of imagining the lives of these buildings and how they interact with one another.
Pretty much.
That's great. So what are some unique elements of this game, some gameplay elements that you think people will really be able to like dive into?
Yeah, so we've tried to make it kind of as pick up and play as possible. So the idea is people act as resources, so essentially you go around picking up various different people, and they act as kind of your currency for earning money. And then what you can do is buildings have an array of kind of places you can make businesses, and then within these businesses, let's see here, you then kind of start using your people as points to make those more efficient. So the key thing with this game is, usually with kind of these management games, is it's about kind of keeping the business and the flow of money going. But with this game, it's about keeping your buildings alive, essentially. So it's not really, a lot of businesses will go in and out of your various different buildings, and they'll kind of go bankrupt and that kind of thing. But by keeping the buildings busy, you keep their kind of integrity. So we actually worked with a local architectural heritage kind of place in Belfast, and one of the main things they look for is when buildings don't have a function for about 6 months or so, that's when they start becoming derelict, and that's when they start having to put huge investment.
So that was the inspiration in terms of keeping people in the buildings, keeping the buildings active, so they don't fall into disrepair, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, we were looking at a lot of kind of local history and basically about how certain buildings align to certain ethoses, I guess. So we've got a couple of banks back in Belfast that have been through like fancy restaurants and hotels, and then we've had some historic poorhouses that became charities and like homeless centres, and it's really interesting like looking at the stories of that, so that's what we're trying to kind of bring to the game as well.
So when it comes to the people, obviously with any sort of resource management, they're finite, right? So you have a limited number of people that you can assign, and then how do we get more people in this town? Like what elements draw more people into the town?
Yeah, so we've got a balance of commercial and residential houses. So like this guy is residence, and he's essentially kind of spawning people into your town. So we can, let's grab a money guy. So I can use, rather than having a global bank account, you actually spend individuals, kind of high net worth people.
Okay.
So you're essentially using them to build things. So here I can build like residential flats, and then this guy's more likely to spawn kind of specialist people, and that's how you kind of, it's getting the balance between the residential and the commercial areas.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what's the timeline for Buildings Have Feelings Too? When will this game be out, and on what consoles?
So we're looking kind of late spring next year. We're hitting kind of major consoles, so PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC, and yeah, kind of go from there.
Very nice. Last question: during development of any game, there are a number of issues that come up, of course. But what was a unique challenge so far in making this game? Maybe like a bug or a mechanic that you really wanted to nail down. Maybe you had some difficulty executing on.
At the moment, it's working out how we can get a really robust kind of sim and get a really robust kind of narrative engine behind it as well. So at the moment, they have like little one-liners. The idea is we have procedural storylines that go out throughout the game, but it's always based on the building's personality and how your city is compared to that personality. So if you put a bank in a really poor area, he's going to start complaining about how he wants to gentrify the area, and you can either choose to ignore him or kind of go with the flow. So trying to get that balance where you have a lot of choice, but also you've got that sim side of it. Like, you want strategy in any game, otherwise it's kind of pointless. So getting that nice balance, we're getting there. So.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to chat about Buildings Have Feelings too. It looks awesome, and I can't wait to try it out.
Cool, thanks very much.
This is a city of people living in these wide miles of buildings. Big, energetic, triumphant. The town growing all the time. People moving in all the time. The big city reaching out. For this city can be what it wishes to be. It can produce whatever it wishes to produce. Riches of any kind. Beauty of any kind.